Hello, my name is Logan. I'm the president and head of service and advisory for Anneal Tech. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the difference between disaster recovery and business continuity plans, because these are very different things. And you don't want to wait until a disaster happens to then wonder what your plan is. So let's start with the types of incidents that these cover. It's really anything. It's not just cybersecurity incidents, which I think a lot of people default to. They think that cyber incidents are the most significant threat. And the reality is they're not. Theft and natural disasters are a frequent occurrence and problem. There was a customer not that long ago who the tenant above them flooded, and it then flooded down into their office, right through the roof, into the server room of their office, and it took out all their networking equipment. And so there are numerous things that could be considered disaster and could be very disruptive to your business. And so having a disaster response plan, a recovery plan, as well as a business continuity plan is incredibly important. Now, disaster recovery plans are pretty straightforward. How do we take the business from being shut down from whatever the cause was to getting us back up and operational? And this usually requires we have to think through, where are the risks to our business? What do we have that is most susceptible and sensitive to some sort of disaster or some sort of issue? It could be theft. Someone came in and stole all the computer equipment out of our office. What would we do? Well, how long is it going to take us to procure new equipment, to deploy it, and get up and operational again? All of these things fall into a disaster recovery plan and need to be detailed out so that the team understands, if X were to happen, here's how we respond, here's how we restore all of our business services as fast as possible. Now, on the other hand, business continuity plans are more focused on, in the case of a disaster, what do we do to try and maintain as much of the business operations as we can? How do we provide continuity? Most businesses, if you're servicing a business client, has some sort of service level agreement stating that the service needs to be available or responsive within a certain period of time. And so you being just out of luck and shut down for an extended period of time is not reasonable. You need to be able to get up to a minimal level of serviceability so that those SLAs are met and you're not dealing with client credits and all the penalties that can come from missing those service level agreements. Business continuity plans are, what do we do now in the interim while we're trying to get things back up and running through the disaster recovery plan? These tend to be a lot more shorter time frames and more tactical. Are we able to get people relocated? Are we able to get new equipment? Are we able to have them use secondary equipment? And for businesses that have a more mature cybersecurity program in place, this could be taking all of that into consideration. Are we able to get people functional on devices that are not centrally managed and part of our business corporate equipment? Are they able to work from home? And so the questions that have to be asked to build out a mature business continuity plan are a little bit more in depth and broad because they are a little bit more tactical. Now, hopefully you can see how these two pieces fit together, right? The one is more of the immediate, how do we get services running in a minimum viable state? And the other is, how do we get things up and running back to how they were before the disaster? This is where vendors like Anneal Tech and other IT services can come in, because we're able to offer solutions that give you more resources to pull from in the case of a disaster. For example, if you have a server in your office that you use for hosting applications or files, we can work through what the right backup solutions are going to be, co-locating or using the cloud and having a cloud solution rather than the on-premise server. There's a lot of these sorts of questions that are worth considering, because when you look at the impact of a disaster and how they can be mitigated, you may decide that the cost of moving those things to a cloud service or offsite may be cheaper than the risk would be of managing those things internally. There's a lot of those things that are necessary to consider, and it's helpful to have some expert advice there to guide you through that process and building those two things. And then lastly, what I would leave you with is that you have to practice both. Don't leave the vetting of your disaster recovery plan and your business continuity plan till the day of the disaster, because inevitably what you're going to find is that people don't know what they need to do, and there's inevitably going to be something that you forgot. And so it's always worth going through and doing a dry run and a practice run of these disaster recovery and business continuity plans, so that you know that when the time comes and there is a real issue, you are practiced, you are well-versed, you know what everybody is supposed to be doing, and you're able to recover appropriately. I hope this is helpful and educational. And if you have further questions, reach out to us at inquiries@annealtech.com.